I have a box here, just showed up in the mail today, and this is something new to me. Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, and in today's video we are going to have a quick look at what's inside of this box. I have never had a camera by this brand before in my life. I have tried a few other brands. I'm filming this video on a Sony camera. I also had a few other Sony cameras. I had a couple of Panasonic cameras. I still do, I have one Canon, a basic Canon camera, and I never had a Nikon. And this is something new that just came out. I've been waiting for this actually for a month, and they just started to ship these out. And I guess this is an early version. Well, in the sense that this is a production run, but I hope this is not really going to have any bugs or issues or anything like that. This is a Nikon Red ZR. The box itself is not that large. It's just not a whole lot. It's got a bit of a design, but that's pretty much all that there is to it. So let's just see what's inside and have a too early for an opinion, but it's a Nikon, right? So there's a few things. There's a Type-C to Type-C cable. It's a fairly thick cable, so it's not just a flimsy thin charging cable, so I guess that's data transfer. There's a couple of pages of paperwork. So there's a shelf right here. There's a chart. Oh, there's a battery. That's a battery right there. About the size of Panasonic Lumix S5, I guess. Definitely bigger than Canon's. Well, this is R8 and that size of a camera size battery. And if you compare it to this NP, that's one of those basic 2-cell NP, Sony NPF batteries. That's how this compares. It says Japan, 2280 milliamp hours. It's a fairly standard size battery. There's something else here. Well, this is a strap that we really don't care about too. And there's this thing right here. Anything else in the box that we need to know about? I think this is it for the box itself. So here's the camera. So that's what you're going to be facing if you buy this camera. And here it is. My first ever Nikon camera. That's what it looks like. I would say it's I had a Sony ZV-E1. This is about the same size, maybe a little bit larger. That's what it looks like on the front. This is the top. This is this side. This is this side. The back. And the bottom. Ooh, and the sensor is actually shifting. It's got an IBIS. Like I said, the camera is fairly, yeah, it's a little bit wide this way, but it's also thin and skinny this way. As far as the height goes, it's pretty much a standard height, plus minus a few millimeters. I do like, I have to mention this, I like these strap mounting ears that are really recessed. They are not sticking out. That's a really nice feature of this camera. So naturally the front is the lens mount. There's a lock for that, and there's a button here on the bottom that says REC, so that's a record, I'm assuming. There is a Z right here. There's a light. This is a nice wheel and zoom lever. I think that's the power. On the other side, that's a little bit strange. Hot shoe mount. That's a really fancy cover for it. Is it a hot? Yes, it should be hot. I think it is a hot shoe mount, not a cold. Lumix S9, for example, has a cold shoe mount. There are two microphones here, built-in microphones. There's a switch for photo and video. That's a nice thing to have. I always love those. Sigma FP has one of those switches, and I loved it on that camera. There's a couple of other buttons here. So there isn't much really. There is another wheel here on the back side. So one wheel is on the front and one is on the back. The back side is only 3 of these buttons. One is a joystick, really, multi-directional joystick, and it's clickable too. There are 2 other buttons here. So that's pretty much all that there is to it as far as the buttons go. I do like this. It can be really helpful, and I always enjoy this front-mounted button, start and stop recording button. So a couple of other features is, well, this side, the left side, I guess, has a couple of doors, and those are just basically rubber flaps. This one is a Type-C port here, and micro HDMI, which is a little bit of a bummer, but I don't really use that a whole lot. The other flap is a microphone and headphones, so there is nothing special here. These are both the same color. The upper one says microphone. Sony has the microphone input with a red circle around it. That's really nice. This one is the same color, so don't plug your microphone into headphones. Of course, the bottom has the 1/4 inch 20 mounting hole, and here's the other thing that I'm kind of not really sure that this was advertised this way, but this is the battery door. This camera is a little bit weird because this camera is not using SD card. This has 2 card reader slots. So one of them is this CF Express B, and the other one, that's the first one, and the other one is a micro SD card slot. That is really weird. So you cannot, if you have a different camera, a few other cameras, and you have a bunch of SD cards, this will not, you will not be able to use an SD card with this camera. That's really strange. So the other weird or strange thing about Nikon is that the threads or the locking flange on the lens flange, I guess it's the opposite rotation compared to anything else. So it unlocks if you rotate this cap clockwise, unlike everything else. Everything else is actually works the other way. So if you try to remove this, or the same way the rear cap on a lens, you have to rotate this. You cannot rotate to remove this counterclockwise. You have to rotate this clockwise, and then you can remove it. That's really strange. I've never seen anything like that. No other camera has that strange direction. So here's that's a normal Canon. That's a normal way of locking the cap, rear cap, and installing the lens actually. Well, this is going to be the lens that I'm going to be using on this camera for now at least. So once you remove this, you are facing a full frame sensor, and like I said, it's got an IBIS, so that's nice because not too many lenses use optical stabilization. Well, there are some, but not all of them. So the only thing that is left is the screen, and that's one of those things that I was really interested in seeing myself, because according to all the documentation or information that I read, this one is a larger screen, and it does look large, and that's a big screen. Just look at that. Of course, it's just it opens up and rotates like that, but that is a big screen. I really like that. That's just, this is a monster, really. And it's also thin. Kind of doesn't really unfold flat. It's got a bit of an angle, as you can really see. And as far as the rotation, yeah, it goes flat this way, goes this way, and all the way to the face, to the front. So, and then you can of course do it this way. So when you're filming something, you have the screen in front of you. To make this camera work, so if you don't buy a kit, naturally the battery is included. Wow, this thing just popped off. You need a lens. This is a constant f4, which is just an f4, someone is going to say, and this one is a 24 to 70. So it should be plenty enough for to start this and for you to start too. F4 is not f2.8, but this is fairly affordable. It's not a bad lens too. There's nothing wrong with f4 and a full frame sensor. So I mean, again, not f2.8. It is not, but can be worse than f4. At least it's constant. So, and naturally you need a micro SD card, which is I'm not really prepared. But micro SD cards are, I guess, on the cheaper side. Or optionally, you can just get a CF Express. That's what I have here. It says memory card 512 gig. It's a fairly fast card. Not one of the most popular brands, but then it's on the cheaper side, and I just wanted to see and try this. I have used SD cards of this brand and they worked. They worked. I didn't have issues with them. I do like these cards. These are a step up from an SD card. It's a metal and everything. Well, there is plastics. There are plastics too, of course, but a CF Express or micro SD card, that's what you need. Again, this has sort of a dual slot card reader, but it's not really a dual slot. It's just it's strange. I guess I'm a little bit upset, I suppose, in a sense that the micro SD card, I mean, they work. There's nothing really wrong with those cards, but it's just a micro SD card. That's so strange. I don't have large hands, but still, it's basically fits right there, right like that in my hand, in palm of my hand, and it doesn't have, like I said, an EVF, so it's not bulky. It doesn't have anything sticking out, and it's a fairly thin camera too. So the grip is also, which is a part of this thinness, the grip is also not that pronounced. So I guess this should be it for this video, and I guess in the conclusion, this camera feels really nice. I like handling it. Well, comfortable. I guess that this grip here, hand grip, is not that bad at all. It's not really pronounced, but I still can hold it fairly comfortably. And it's also this size here is also not small, so you're not really hitting the lens when you hold the camera like this. This is something that I at least at this moment I kind of like. I like the way it feels. The fit and finish is just top notch. It's built like a tank, that's what they say. All these things are just nice. I had issues with some cameras as far as the doors and flaps and all go. Canon had a problem. Panasonic, that's a love and hate affair, because those cameras have great specs, but the way they are built, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the build quality, but the way they feel, the materials and everything, I just never really liked those. This feels more, if I can compare this, probably feels more like a Sony. That's what it feels like. Not like a Canon. Definitely doesn't have that feel of a Panasonic camera. Textures and everything else is just everything feels just solid. And the screen, that's another thing. That's the size of the screen. I occasionally use glasses these days, and a small screen, for example, something on a GoPro, that's just way too small for me to really look at without glasses. This is not as expensive as some of other high-end Nikon cameras, and also the only thing that kind of makes me feel a little bit not worried, I guess, but it's not uncomfortable, something that I feel, but just one single mounting point here, that's a little bit not enough, I guess, in some situations. I wish there was something else, a point maybe on this side right here. I can always get a cage and add multiple mounting points. So this should be it. I think that's the end of this video. At this point I feel like I want to keep it, but I guess a lot of things depend on how it's going to perform. In the conclusion, I guess overall I'm impressed with this camera. I like it. That's all that I can say. I hope you find this information to be helpful for you. If you think you have something to say, just don't be shy, say it. Leave a comment. If you have not subscribed yet, just please do that. It helps me. It doesn't hurt you in any way or manner. You don't spend any money on subscription. You can always unsubscribe. You can do that at any time. I don't know. I don't really have any experience with Nikon, so this is something fun, and maybe this will be the camera for this channel. We will see. I will be taking pictures with this camera too, so, and it's a Nikon, so what can go wrong, right?